You're saying ride the bull. I'm basically saying yes. I mean, the liquidity. Let me go through one other thing really quick because I discussed this in a previous video, and I wanted to discuss this really quick while I got you here. The liquidity that the Fed is providing is insane, okay? And I'm using this example from, let me use you two examples. Back in my 21 years of doing this, there's two examples I can think of where the Fed provided tons of liquidity for whatever reason they needed to do. And I discussed this in previous videos. I'll reiterate this now. 99, they did it because of Y2K. They were concerned that at the tick of the stroke of midnight, December 31st, 1999, every computer was going to blow up. The Fed was worried about that. So what they did was keep interest rates low. They said, we're not going to raise rates. And they did a different version of QE by pumping money into the system by doubling, I forget if it was M2 or M3 money supply. You can go read about it. The point is, one, there weren't 100 bloggers, thousands of bloggers bitching about this. Two, there was no social media for everyone to bitch about it. And three, there weren't 19 different news stations for everyone to bitch about it. Basically, life is great when there aren't platforms for people to bitch about things. There was just Yahoo Finance message boards, which was the Twitter trolling of the time back then. I digress. The Fed provided tons of liquidity. Why? To prevent a possible disaster from Y2K. And look what happened. October into about March, April of, and from October of 99 into March, April of 2000, about 6 or 7 months. That's example one of when the Fed provided liquidity for whatever reason they wanted to. Let me fast forward to the second example that I can remember, which is, let me go back a little bit here. QE2, 2010. We came off of the financial housing crisis of 08-09. We started to recover, and the market was going through a correction in the summer of 2010. Bernanke at Jackson Hole, September 1st, in the Jackson Hole Symposium, announces QE2. On September 1st, we had a follow-through day. Why did they do it? Because they were worried about a double-dip recession, because Bernanke was a huge historian and studied the Great Depression of 29 to 39, and the Fed didn't act appropriately, and we had a huge double dip, and he was saying, I don't want that to happen. So the reason in 99 was Y2K. The reason in 2010, we're going to pump load a shitload of liquidity because we're worried about a double dip recession. And what happened was we went from September, as you can see, until about February, about 6 or 7 months. Fast forward to today. Let's reset to today. Keep in mind, this is live. I'm trying, bear with me. Now, the Fed comes out and fires bazookas, howitzers. Powell drops his pants, bends over, says, I'm just throwing everything at the market. Why? What's the reasoning this time? To prevent a disaster in the economy from the coronavirus, to at least provide lending to businesses, narrow credit spreads, and act quicker than the Fed has done back in the Great Depression. Someone asked him at the press conference, how would you compare this to 29? He says, it's not 1929 because the Fed didn't act till 1933. We came right to the market's help and acted immediately. Some people complain. Some people respect that. I don't really care. My job is to interpret what happens. They came in, acted right away to prevent a possible disaster. And what happens now? I'm only saying this, granted the sample size is 2. The other 2 times I can think of where the Fed provided liquidity, the market lasted for about 6 or 7 months before it dropped out. So that's part of my theory from April. 6 or 7 months would take us into the election. That's why I think this unbelievable liquidity is continuing to keep the market propped up. I don't care. I'm not a perma bear. I'm not a perma bull. I'm not perma anything. I'm just open-minded, and I'm not going to argue with it. And what's unbelievably crazy, and I've talked about this recently, is they have another Fed meeting coming up in September 15, 16, mid-September. There's rumors of more stimulus being announced, which kind of is laughable, but it also kind of confirms my theory that Trump's keeping pressure on the Fed through Mnuchin, not a conspiracy theory, to keep interest rates low and to keep providing stimulus. Why argue with it? Just take advantage of it. Just keep in mind along the way there's going to be bumps in the road. That was kind of a little market rant there. So thanks for letting me get that off my chest.